Okay, let's start this chapter. This is chapter 1, communicating in a workplace, part of the work business communication and problem solving approach by Dr. Karen Pike. Now, the learning objective is the importance we want to know and explain or describe the following concept is that the importance of a business communication to you and to business. The ways in which the business communications is a form of problem solving. The skills needed by today business communications, the professionalisms, and it's important to a business communicators. The three main categories of business communication in business. Then we will know the two types of communication network in an organization. There's two types only. The main factors that affect the types of and the amount of the communicating that an organization does. The contents for each act of business communication, and the last thing is the business communication process. Now, communication was rated as one of the top attributes desired by employers. They want you to be you communicating with them. Transparency comes from the fact that you are communicating properly. And this is done by studies done by National Association of College and Employer Service surveyed to 2015. Now, 1 in 5 in the project is unsuccessful because of ineffective communication. There is other reason for failing project, but each 1 in 5 failing ones is because of ineffective or poor communication. That's done by PMI. Project Management Institution studies. So when we communicating, we look at the communication as a problem solving. We have a problem and we look for it to communicate this problem and how to solve it. Excuse me. When customer complains, you need to know what tone should I use? What should I say? He also wants to know how do I respond, in what format, and when do I respond? You know, there is different tones to use. Assertive, not assertive. What should I say? Writing, not writing, speaking, calling, that's the format, or when do I respond? Now, in the problem solving, most of the business communication problems are ill-defined and require research, analysis, creativities, and judgment. So communication problem itself, the communication has ill-defined, the tools that you're gonna use, how you're gonna deliver your communication. Now let's test your judgment here. And your work as a startup where 2 employees have reported harassment, even though no formal policies is in a place. As a director of a human resource, you need to announce a new harassment policies. What do you think is the best medium for this? Should we use email, send a memo, do a presentation, do a workshop, or a combination of them? Now, in the communication skills, you notice there is different generations and they communicate effectively in a different tools. A baby boomer statistical genius who grew up in a city and a millennial designer from a small town are assigned to the same team to develop an online marketing campaign. So there are two different way of communication, two different a little bit differences in the culture because of the generation. What communication skills will they need to work together well? And what kind of literacy may present challenges for them? So these are things that you need to think about them when you're communicating with your manager, with the elder in your work. How are you going to communicate with them? Now, there is communication skills, a breakdown of it. It could be a verbal and visual literacy. It could be interpersonal and collaborative skills, analytical ability, computational thinking, interpretive skills. You could use media literacy, social intelligence, cross-cultural competencies, and you might have ethical awareness. These are the skills is needed, to break down the skills that it needed to do a perfect or effective communication. Now, when you're working in a workplace, you might run to a different things. And basically might be a different lifestyle they might have different gender, different way of learning, different life stage. Maybe they have a different academic background. There is cultural definitely differences, race, age, experience. And these are all extreme aware. You can see them in our culture in Canada because we have a multiculturalisms. You can see different culture. You see different education background, academic background. You see different genders, lifestyle, different age working with you, different background experience. So the diversity makes the company actually stronger and more competitive if there is a good communications also. Now, workplace diversity analysis. Have you ever worked at a company where diversity from age to lifestyle was low priorities? As usually, diversity is in USA less paid attention to, in Canada a lot more. How did it affect your work experience or the quality of work? If you're working in a company, multiculturalism, different religion background, different language background, as I did, it might affect a lot of how to cooperate and work. How did it affect the development of other communication skills? How did a lack of diversity affect the interpersonal skills? How did it relate to attribute about the social responsibility? These are all questions that we might be exploring and see the limitation. We're not reaching to our potential level because we're not paying attention to such issues that we need to analyze them due to the diversities. Why didn't anyone tell me it was a casual Fridays? Sometimes you go, you dress up, but nobody told you it's a casual Fridays. It goes beyond the etiquette actually and the social behavior and include it's a respectful communication. They're not respecting to communicate. there is a loyalties, there is a work ethics, there should be adaptabilities and services. These are the issues that you need to take a look behind the question, why didn't anyone tell me it was a casual Friday? The goal of a good manner is to build a positive relationship that enable a working environment to function in the most favorable way to all concerned. That's by Jacqueline Whitmore. One of the issues that I always had a different background friends, and I raised the question that why you are a friend with me and not a friend, your coworkers with other X and Y. I said, because you're respectful and you have adaptabilities, you can provide loyalties. We feel that in you. So when you go at work, there is a common thing. It work. The work has to be delivered. So no matter what's the other side, is you have to be respectful for them, to them. So why you didn't did anyone to tell me it was a casual Friday? These are issue comes in behind it. There must be some a broken things needs to be fixed, like there is no respectful communication. Maybe there is no loyalties or work ethic or adaptability or service or combination of this. Now, you make the call, in this case, professional or not. A clothing store cashier talks on in-house on a headset to a coworker about a demanding customers. What do you think? Your doctor refers to some other patient case without revealing the names that's similar to your own. A bank CEO texts some potential client to ask them to join him for after work drinks. And the best case that I also faced is meeting top management, the CEOs for administration and accounting, financial department of high-ranked college in Dubai. And I will explain the scenarios and how we supposed to do. So how professional is this email? I just want you to take a look at this email and tell me how professional it is. With the deadline at our doorstep, we are looking for, this is somebody is writing an email, Noel, to Susan. With the deadline at our doorstep, we are looking for your confirmation you are on it. John reached you out via charter and email an hour ago, and you still haven't responded. I also reached out via charter. While I realize your last day is Wednesday and you had a funeral services to attend today, it is important to maintain communication and keep up your brand. I know John and Leo appreciate you. Let's land on a good note and maintain that strong relationship. She's adding a smile there. I don't think there should be a smile. Anyway, how professional is this email? Now, the categories of communication, there is what you call internal operation, which is drives the internal communication. There is an external operation and there is the personnel. So these are needs to look at it. In the external audience, which is you are the company, you have the customers, which is, or consumers, which is business, customers, and government. You have the public at large, which is internet surfers, social networkers, potential employees, potential investors. And then you have industry, and this is one of the case. I got a job offer from a college, but when I looked at the report about them, I had to decline it indirectly. Industry partners, competitive, similar business, and lobbyists. Then you have regulatory agent, the government, trade, alliance. You have to deal with all these, communicate with them, union officials, maybe national and international legal experts. And then you have the public group. These are all external audience, which is community group, citizen group, non-government organizations, schools, and foundations. These are different type of communications is needed when you are communicating with these people. Now, as we said, there is two networks. There is a formal network and there is informal network. Formal network, which is well established along operation lines, depends on a certain established forms or genres in a companies and planned and managed. In the informal is complex and dynamics. So these are two different things that you need to look at them. Give something and we can bring some examples of formal and informal meetings and communications and networks. But if you look at it formal versus non-formal, if you notice the formal one, and usually when you start working, you're aware of that. There is a division managers and the division managers, there is department managers, and there is people working under the department manager, whatever their position and designation. But then maybe this division manager has a good relationship with one employee here, one is here, probably, and probably one, doesn't matter. This is what you call informal network. Same thing with the department manager, could be married to some subordinate of another department manager, or have a relationship with them, or they have a communication with them. So this is how you look at the informal network also. Here, what we wanted to explain, what's a culture? There is working culture and there is country culture. What's a working culture? In this case, maybe a CEO in a blue jeans. ITS has its own culture. I will explain to you how it works. We did explain part of it. Decision by committees could be an open cubicles layout, paper reports, could be telecommunicating team, posh program, community services, sign up, suits, paper. All these culture driven to maximize the efficiencies and effectiveness and to mitigate the risk, and runs to maximize the profit also. These are shaped up with a long time. So changing this culture, it needs so much effort to do so. Anyway, there is communication models, which is business or economics, then you have the social culture involved in it, and you have the historical. But overall, there is communicators, first word, second word, and they start initial message, and you choosing the channel with channel, and then the responding message could be the same channel or a different channel also. Now, here's a role play, and you might be an executive in hurry to get to the important meeting, but the construction in this company parking lot is blocking his way. So act out a conversation that might happen between you and the executive and the road worker. How are you going to talk to them? How you act with that. Some people can act out negative outcomes and some can act out with a positive. What contents are at the play in this? How are you going to, approach this situation in general? But communication process, this is what's happened. The sender sensed a need to communicate. There is a problem and sense a need to communicate. Then he defines the situation, understand the situation and what kind of problem can solve it. Then consider the possible communication stages at what level it is. And these are we can bring so many examples. Then select the course of action, compose the message, like what we use, medium, content, structure, style, forms, and then send the message. Then it comes in the receiver spot. The receiver receives the message, interprets this. So it might be a gap between the sender and receiver. So you want to minimize this gap. Decide on the response, and replies becoming, or when he replies, it becomes a new sender back. The bottom line, the goal of the business communication is to create a shared understanding of business situation that will enable people to work successfully together. So the whole goal of a business communication is to make sure that the people can work with each other properly. This is the end of the chapter. Thank you.